If you are a fan of Nicole Scherzinger, then seeing Sunset Boulevard is a must. However, if you just wanted to check out this musical for the sake of it, then we should talk. Sunset Boulevard is a musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, which was first put on stage in 1991. This London revival is special for several reasons, but one of the key things is that Nicole Scherzinger is the lead role. This musical is based on a movie by the same name and follows the silent actor Norma Desmond as she transitions into the era of spoken movies. And this is a subject that has been discussed recently in some of the biggest movies such as Babylon, and I think that era of Hollywood is always interesting to creators, but maybe when it comes to this show it's slightly less relatable to today's audiences unless they're really interested in movies. However, the musical does touch upon some really interesting things such as obviously love and aging and just generally the standards of beauty and youth and kind of like how does that impact a person, all through the prism of this big diva Norma Desmond. Nicole is definitely the star of the show, and if you're her fan you will love seeing her in this role because she has some amazing numbers that she belts out and just makes you have goosebumps and stare at her and forget about the world around you. She is also a fantastic dancer, so just her stage presence is incredible, and I think seeing her in this role has given another layer of admiration to her as an artist. I think it's always interesting when celebrities such as Nicole and like big pop stars go into theater or Broadway or West End, because there's always that reservation, can they actually do it? Are they good enough? Or are they just like good at their own craft? But I think when it comes to Nicole, she just like has shown that she is an incredible performer. Doesn't matter where you put her, she's gonna shine. So for all fans of Nicole, I think this is gonna be a very special treat, but I think also if you're not a fan and you go see the show because of her, I think you'll be amazed by her artistry. This is probably one of the highlights of the show. The second highlight of the show is the production by Jamie Lloyd, and Jamie Lloyd is known for very minimalistic production, which for the first time I've experienced when I've seen The Effect that I talked about here. There isn't a lot that's on stage to help actors. Basically there is no set, there are very few props, so all focus is just on them and the way they deliver those lines and the way that they behave on stage. And this is all helped with amazing lighting, but I think in this production there's another layer to the story, which is this big projector at the back of the stage, and this really helps bring that film noir and generally like silent movie era into the conversation, and it helps bring audiences closer to experiencing what those movies were like, because I don't think that many of us actually have watched a silent movie. All of this is also helped with amazing camera work that happens on stage, which sometimes follows Nicole, sometimes it follows other cast members depending obviously on the number, but there's that like really nice close-up that is in black and white, and you can really see amazing facial expressions and emotions that normally you can't see in the theater because in most cases actors are so far away from you. As I said, there isn't much on stage to help actors, but lighting is spectacular. So this is the third highlight that I wanted to share with you. I think that light design and generally the use of light on stage just brings so many different layers and dimensions, and the way that the play is set up, there's always a few layers in the way that actors are positioned on stage. So there's always like someone at the front, someone at the back, and like kind of someone in the middle, and the way that they interact and how their stories overlap is really interesting use of space, especially because there isn't a set. I think it was really interesting also how from the beginning when you enter the theater there is that feel of a looming presence, something's gonna happen, because it is very dark, like so dark that you kind of like barely see people, and this really helps bring you to the story before the story has even started. So after all these highlights highlights that I shared, I guess the question is, so what didn't you like? The reason why this wasn't my favorite show that I've seen this year, despite the production being great and Nicole being an amazing star she is because I feel this story kind of lacks depth and relatability to me. I think that era of Hollywood that has been explored is really interesting. I don't think that there was beyond that there's a lot of universal themes apart from love and relationships. But I don't think that has actually been explored in a way that makes you really reconnect, understand things from a different perspective. I think there are some amazing numbers, both for the male lead and for female lead, and they smashed it. There was one particularly interesting number where they filmed it outside of the theater and then the actor came into the theater, and it was just like so interesting to see how that all was choreographed. But I don't think that those were enough to make me feel like this is the soundtrack that I want to listen to. However, Nicole's numbers were absolutely incredible, and those were some like really big moments of the show. But it feels like they were scattered everywhere, and it didn't feel like there's a strong glue that brings them together and makes you feel like you're flowing and enjoying yourself. And I just caught myself wandering off a few times, and I feel that's not how I normally feel when I'm in the theater, because I love theater and I love being very much focused on what I'm seeing, and this has just like made me feel drift off. So it's a really important part when you go and see a story, because if it doesn't resonate and if you don't feel as strongly about the music that you're listening to, then for me it's always like, okay, it's a great production, but something was missing for me. I do think that Sunset Boulevard is worth checking out because the production and lighting and the cast and choreography and all of that is totally worth experiencing. But I think you should just be prepared that this might not be your favorite musical. But again, people are different. Maybe you will disagree. So let me know in the comments if you go and see it. But if you're also not really sold on the story, maybe check out this video where I talk about my favorite shows in 2023 that I think you should see.